friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you all of the books I'm recommending for this fall. So let's get into it. So all the books I have picked out for you guys today to talk about are books that are really good for the fall. They include books that have like science involved with them, school settings. We have some that are just really good for like the winter spooky season that I think everybody would love. And I have several middle grades actually that I love reading in the fall because it's just kind of a different feel for me. I love throwing in middle grades every once in a while into my TBRs just because they're fast, they're simple, and they really get you in this happy spirit. So let's just dive into all of these books I have to share with you. So the first one I'm going to talk about is a middle grade. This is Nevermore, The Trials of Morgan Crow by Jessica Townsend. This book is actually a series, and I absolutely love this series. This is my favorite middle grade series. This is my favorite middle grade book. I loved just reading it. I loved listening to the audiobook of this book actually because the reader for this book on audio is so good. She has an accent. She does different voices for each character. She really brings all of the characters to life in their own way. You don't even have to be like looking at the book and following along when she reads because you know when her voice changes that she's entering a different person. The character building in this book was absolutely wonderful. She is so good at this series. If you are someone who loves fantasy books, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, anything like that, you will absolutely adore this book. I don't even care if it's middle grade. Like, you need to read this book. This book follows Morgan, and she was born on Evertide, and that just means that she is one of the unluckiest kids in the world, and she is destined to die on Eventide on her 11th birthday. So this book follows her. Everything in the town that happens that goes wrong, she gets blamed for until it is the eve of Eventide, and she is not supposed to wake up the next morning. And a man named Jupiter comes to find her, and he takes her away to Nevermore. She finds out that there's this whole other world where she's actually going to go to school with all these other kids that are super gifted. They all have these wonderful talents. They help her figure out her talent, and he is going to just protect her in this other world so that the smoke monsters don't actually come and kill her. So this is a wonderful book. There's Jupiter right there. It is just so cute. There's some pictures in here. This book is long, but it flies by because the world building in that is just so wonderful. Another middle grade is Ava Evergreen, Semi-Magical Witch by Julie Abe. This book is so cute. This book is about Ava, and she has to rank as a novice witch before she turns 13. And she actually does not have all of the power that a normal witch her age has. So every time she tries to use her magic, she actually falls asleep. So she lives in this town, and she is their witch. She has to help them with whatever they need help with. No one really believes in her because she doesn't have very much magic. So she opens a magical repair shop in this little coastal town so that she can prove her worth to all these people and help fix things for them until a huge magical storm starts to approach that threatens their town. And she actually has to be the one to save this town from this huge magical storm and hopefully become a full-blown witch by the time she's 13. This book is absolutely adorable. It is perfect for this season because it's about witch. It's a middle grade, so it's super fast. It is just wonderful. Our next middle grade is The Girl Who Circumnavigated Fairyland in a Ship of Her Own Making. This book is actually a series. They are all so wonderful. This book I am actually recommending for the fall and for this month because the little 12-year-old girl that is the main character is actually named September. And that is one of the reasons why I think this would be perfect for September. This one says September is a girl who longs for adventure. She's invited to fairyland by Green Wind and a leopard, so of course she accepts. but Fairyland is in turmoil, so it's going to take this 12-year-old girl, a book-loving dragon, and a strange but almost human boy named Saturday to vanquish the evil Marquise and restore order. So this is not like Wizard of Oz, but it is super close. It's super cute. It's full of adventure, and I just absolutely loved it. And I can't wait to read the other books that are actually following September in Fairyland. I think everybody should read that one. It's wonderful. All right, Green Glass House by Kate Milford. I had to add this one. This is one of my favorite books to read in December, in November. This book I love picking up when it's the first snow of fall, and I just can't wait for you guys to read this also. This one follows Milo, and Milo is a 12-year-old boy whose parents own this Smuggler's Inn on this mountain that is filled with snow. This actually takes place over winter break, where the Smuggler's Inn just usually doesn't get that much business, very much company, and all of a sudden one night all these people start showing up. They all have these secrets that Milo is determined to figure out what the secrets are. They all seem to have a connection to Green Glass House, and he is going to play detective with the cook's daughter, Meddy, and they are going to figure out why things in the house keep turning up missing, which one of these smugglers is stealing things, why they all seem to be connected, why they all showed up randomly one night. This book is so much fun. You're trying to figure out mystery, you're getting the vibes of all of the winter and the snow and this beautiful mountain, and you get all of the house, and they're exploring different rooms. This book is wonderful for kids. I would read this to my kid, but I mean, she wouldn't really understand that much because she's a little young for it, but this is a very good book. The Nowhere Emporium by Ross Mackenzie. I have not gotten to read yet, but I am really looking forward to reading it. This actually takes place in November. The very first page of this book says, "The shop from nowhere arrived with the dawn on a crisp November morning." I can't wait to read this in November. I wanted to read it last November, but just never got around to it. This one says a mysterious shop from nowhere can appear at any time in the city. It's a magical labyrinth of rooms, contains wonders beyond belief, but to enter you must pay a price. This book actually follows Daniel, and he goes into the Nowhere Emporium. He visits this shop. It's wonderful, it's magical, and you get all those wonderful vibes. You get all of those, I don't know, just there's something about this time of the year that makes me want to read actually like magical worlds and experience them with all these kids, and it's just amazing. So another one that I think would be really good to read this time of the year is Christina Lauren's Soulmate Equation. This one I read in about this time of year, and I absolutely loved it. I think it's the vibes of like this women in STEM kind of books that really make me want to read them around the time of year when school gets back in session. This one follows a single mom named Jessica. She is a data and statistics wizard. She has a 7-year-old daughter named Juno. She has no reason to get back into the dating world. Then she hears about Genetically, a buzzy new DNA-based matchmaking company that's predicted to change dating forever. Find your soulmate through DNA. And Jess is super interested. She's like, what is happening? This sounds really fun. Her and her friend actually go ahead and do their DNA on here. And she gets matched with the creator of Genetically. And he is not her type. They don't know what's going on, why they were matched together. His name is Dr. River Pina. And then Dr. Pina believes so much in his technology and his matchmaking company that he actually goes ahead and decides that him and her really need to play it up, and they need to go on these dates. They need to figure out if his company, his DNA, his baby actually works. And then obviously they start spending more time together. They start actually enjoying each other's company. They start seeing what it is about them that their DNA and this matchmaking company stuck them together. This was such an amazing book. This book is one of those books that really makes you fall in love with Christina Lauren and just makes you want to dig into even more of her books. Another book that is really great for this time of the year because of its mysteries and she's going to a prep school and all that fun jazz is The Inheritance Game by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I feel like I talk about this book all the time, and I do because it just fits into all of my book recommendations so well. It is different, it is fun, it is fast-paced, it has romance, it has mystery, it has riddles. This book is everything. This book has such great character building. It has scenes. Their mansion is so brought to life in this book. It is wonderful. This book follows Avery, and she actually is just a high school student, and she's trying to get out of her town. She no longer has a mother. Her mother passed away, so all she has is her older sister, and she lives in a car most of the time. And then one morning, she's called to the office, and she finds out that she has inherited $46.2 billion from Tobias Hawthorne, a man she's never ever even met. And to get all this money, all she has to do is go to Texas, live on his estate for an entire year, attend school there, and but the only catch is that his entire family that he just disinherited and all 4 of his grandsons that were supposed to be the inheritors of his fortune actually live at this mansion. So she has to go and live with them. She is all over the news. She has to start attending a new prep school with kids that don't think she belongs. She actually gets swept into a love triangle with a couple of the grandsons. And the fun part about this book is that Tobias Hawthorne absolutely loved riddles and games, and he would challenge his grandsons to figure it out. So a couple of the grandsons actually just think that Avery is a new riddle left from their grandpa to figure out how she takes place in their world. And then another one of the grandsons actually just thinks she's a con woman and somehow figured out how to inherit all of their grandpa's money. This book is so good. It keeps you guessing until the end, and then she already obviously has come out with a couple new books that go with this book, and they pick up right when this stops. So it's really good to just binge read and get going. I loved that book. That was a great mystery. Another book that I absolutely love that everybody knows I absolutely adored was The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. I absolutely adore Ali Hazelwood. All of her books she is so good at character building. She's so good at this woman in STEM. It makes you really get pushed into this world of women in STEM and how their struggles probably happen in real life. And her romance novels are just absolutely to die for. I just really love Ali Hazelwood. She is one of those authors like Christina Lauren and Emily Henry that I would just tell people to buy over and over and over again. This one actually follows a PhD candidate, Olive, and the main premise of this book is fake dating. She actually has a best friend that is currently dating her ex-boyfriend, and she wants to just help Olive get back out there, but all Olive wants to do is science and further her career, so she pretends that she has a boyfriend to appease her best friend, and to keep up that ruse, she thinks she sees her best friend in the hallway of their college building, and she just kisses the first guy she sees in the hall just to pretend that she was actually on a date and not doing work after hours. So then it turns out that the guy that she kisses is actually Adam Carlson, the young hotshot professor and well-known ass. So he decides that he will keep her secret and he'll pretend to be her secret boyfriend, and they can go on these fake dates, and I absolutely love fake dating. But obviously when they start hanging out together, she realizes that maybe he's maybe not the grump of the department after all, and he's actually really kind and he actually truly cares about her. This is one of those books where it's like the guy falls first and fake dating, and I absolutely love those tropes. I just finished reading her second book, and I absolutely loved that one as well. That was a 5 out of 5 stars for sure. Okay, This book, guys, I'm so excited to read this book. See You Yesterday by Rachel Lynn Solomon is high on my September TBR and really high on my recommendations list for you guys. This book is one of those Groundhog Day books, and I absolutely love those. I don't know, sometimes those don't like cut it for some people, but every one that I've read just does it for me. I don't know what it is. But this one follows Barrett, and Barrett Bloom is hoping for a fresh start in college. Her high school did not go as well as she hoped she did. So the very first day of college on September 21st, she actually gets humiliated from a know-it-all in her physics class. She botches her interview for the college paper, and she goes to a party where she accidentally sets the frat house on fire, and in a panic she flees and realizes that her roommate actually locked her out of the dorms. So she sleeps in the commons, but the next morning she wakes up back in her dorm and she's super confused. Then she realizes that once again it is September 21st and she is living her first day of college all over again. Then, as the story goes on, she realizes that know-it-all in her physics class named Miles is actually in the same time loop as she is. So they decide that they're going to help each other out and get out of this time loop, but they start having adventures. They start exploring the college after hours all day long, and then they finally start to fall in love, fall for each other, and they have to figure out if once they actually break the time loop and they're no longer living this day together over and over and over again, if their love is actually going to last or if it was only because they were stuck together. I think this sounds wonderful. I think it sounds amazing. It's one of those Groundhog Days that I think I'm really going to get into. Okay, we have one more school-based one. This one is very spicy, very saucy. This book is The Deal by Elle Kennedy. Elle Kennedy writes these books so wonderfully. So this one is Off Campus, book 1. She also has the Briar novels. Those ones are supposed to be really good as well. I have not jumped into this yet. This one follows Hannah, and she wants her crush to finally notice her and get his attention, but she's not very good at seduction. So she decides to tutor one of the hockey players named Garrett, and he wants nothing but to play hockey, and he just needs to clean up his GPA. So he agrees to let her tutor him, and he's going to help her make her crush jealous, which sounds like such a fun thing anyways. That always gets some reaction because then obviously as they're doing a tutor session, they randomly hit it off. They have really wild, saucy night together, and then Garrett finds out that maybe she's not just the good girl that's trying to make this other guy jealous, and maybe he needs to figure out a way for her to decide that he's the perfect guy for her and not this other guy she's trying to seduce. So this one is going to be super good. I think it's going to be a little funny. I don't know. I think it's just going to be wonderful. I just cannot wait to get into it. It has hockey, it has tutoring, it has school, it has college. I think this will be a great fall kind of read for everybody. Now let's get into a little bit of romance. This is Made in Manhattan by Lauren Lynn. This one follows Violet, and Violet is of privilege. She was born in the world of Upper East Side Manhattan. She always does the right thing. She always wears the right clothes. And her grandmother's friend actually asks her to take on her newly found grandson named Kane. And he wants nothing to do with Manhattan. He wants nothing to do with this newfound grandmother he's never met. And all Violet has to do is turn him into the new heir of the family company, and he wants nothing to do with it. He doesn't see what the point is. All he wants is the payout once he actually becomes the heir, so he gets all of that money. And then once Violet takes him on as a student, she's trying to teach him the ways of Manhattan. They're doing dinner parties together and fancy tux fittings, and Kane and Violet finally start spending this time together. They finally start getting this actual respect for each other and their separate worlds. This is definitely one of those enemies to lovers kind of, but more like a grumpy sunshine. He doesn't want to change, but she's set out to change him until she figures out that maybe he is who he is and maybe she is who she is, but somehow that is just going to work and blossom into something really beautiful and really special. This book just seems like it fits this time of the year wonderfully, and I can't wait to get into it. A book that everybody has seen. I promise everybody has seen this book. Kingdom of the Wicked by Carrie Maniscalco is another one of those books that I'm so surprised I have not read yet. But I really wanted to get to it over summer, and I decided that it really fits this time of the year. This book is one of those witch books, but it's kind of more of a high fantasy witch book. This one follows twin sisters, and one of the sisters is actually brutally murdered. So the other twin decides that she is going to get revenge for her sister no matter what the cost. She's even going to use dark magic if she needs to, and she sets out to find the murder. And this leads her to the wrath one of the Wickeds, the Prince of Hell, and she is going to use his help to take down this serial killer. And all these girls on their island start to get brutally murdered, and she actually goes against all the rules of being this witch and uses his help to find the killer. And obviously they're going to start having feelings for each other that are supposed to be forbidden. And I just have heard nothing but absolutely wonderful things about this book. It has these pretty pictures on the inside of their island. I just think this is going to be a wonderful book to read this time of the year. I'm not super into fantasy, but this one I think I'm going to really enjoy because it has that witch element that I absolutely love witches. The Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas is another one of those books that was so popular and so hyped up when it first came out, and for good reasons. This book was everywhere. It fits the premise for this time of the year really well. I think a lot of people would really enjoy reading it at this time. So this one follows a traditional Latin family, and this one is, I hope I pronounce his name right, Yadriel? Yes. And he wants to prove himself as a real bruja. He is going to have the help of his cousin and his best friend, and they are going to summon a ghost of their murdered cousin, and instead they get the ghost of Julian, the school bad boy, and all they want him to do is just go away, but he has other plans. That he wants them to help him tie up some loose ends, figure out why he actually died, and then they start falling for each other, and it is just such an amazing romance, such an amazing book. They have to obviously figure out what their next steps are, because how are you going to have a relationship with a ghost? But it's a really wonderful book, everybody. Okay, our last one I saved for last is super adorable. I absolutely love fairy tales. Obviously, I have 2 little girls, so I read a lot of fairy tales. So this one is Snow and Rose by Emily Winfield Martin. This book is just absolutely gorgeous. It has all these wonderful, if I can find one, goodness. It has all these wonderful pictures and illustrations in here of Snow and Rose, them finding a library. Like, this book is just so magical, so whimsical. It is so fast-paced because you get all these beautiful illustrations. This actually follows the actual fairy tale of Snow and Rose. It says that the only real synopsis is once they lived in a big house with spectacular gardens. It says Snow and Rose were 2 sisters as different as night and day. They lived in the woods, but it hadn't always been so. This book follows the fairy tale, obviously. Like, look at the cute little fox. It's just an adorable book. This book is so much fun. This book you could even buy for a Christmas present or a gift for someone that really loves illustrations and fairy tales. This book you could read to your children. It's not like scary or anything. This book is the fairy tale of Snow and Rose, where they actually are of great wealth, and then something happens to their father. The kingdom actually throws them out, says that they can no longer be lords if their father's not around, so they have to actually go and live in the woods with their mother by themselves. They actually explore the wood. They meet a different family that also lives in the woods. This is just such an adorable fairy tale, but she redid the fairy tale, and she did such a beautiful, wonderful job. If you are looking for a present for literally anybody at any age, I would recommend just picking this one up, even for yourself, because it is absolutely beautiful. All right, guys, so that is all of the books I have as fall recommendations for all of you. I really hope you enjoyed this video today. I hope you look at some of these books and pick some of them up, even for other people if they want to start getting into reading. And I hope that everybody had a wonderful summer, but I'm so ready for us to have like gloomy fall color days and all the leaves changing, and I just am ready to step into a new season, and I hope you guys are too. I will see you in the next video, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful rest of your day. Bye!